Welcome to the call. Welcome to the call, all millionaires. My name is Amma Nancy, and I'm a registered certified public accountant in the lovely state of Illinois, and it is definitely a pleasure to be the host of the call this evening. Thank you all so very much, and I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this self-esteem development training call, Obsessed with Success. If this is your first time calling in, just to let you know, we have these calls each and every Wednesday, and they are always filled with strategies and tips on self-esteem development, entrepreneurship, as well as secrets of the super wealthy. This gentleman that I have the honor and the privilege of introducing has never had a traditional job a day in his life. Even as a preteen, he was millionaire-minded. He has been building businesses since the young age of 11 years old. Currently, as a revenue acceleration coach, he has done consulting for various Fortune 500 companies such as Red Bull and Scion, just to name a few, as well as he has helped thousands of ordinary people, including myself, create, build, and sustain successful businesses and create additional streams of revenue for themselves. He has been the top producer in every single business venture that he has had. So, ladies and gentlemen on the line, please set your calendars for December 16th and December 17th for a 2-day event. It will be held in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Ali will be conducting this very first advanced sales mastery training. You guys do not want to miss this event, okay? So mark your calendars, December 16th and 17th. Now I'm going to step out of the way and introduce to the line my friend, my mentor, and my coach, Mr. Haziq Ali. Are you on the line, sir?
Yes, I am, Ms. Nancy. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Please take it away.
Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. And I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Obsessed with Success. Every single week we meet you here at the same exact time to bring you all the best stories, strategies, and mindset from all the best to ever do it. And we feel like this is the whole idea. We're looking to grow every day. We feel like the whole idea is that if we just hunt human excellence and model it, before you know it, we're going to be not so bad ourselves. Millionaires, today we're going to talk about these two mindsets, growth and fixed mindset, and we're going to talk about this guy, Bruce Lee, a little bit and what he was able to do to sort of use this growth mindset, even though it was just recently discovered, right? Certain people have been using this stuff forever. All we're doing as thought leaders, y'all, all you're doing as a thought leader is you're retranslating the wisdom of the ancients for a new environment, a new culture, a new time. That's all it is. All this personal development stuff is just retranslating scriptures and holy texts that were passed down to us, if you really look carefully. My point to you is that even though this is a new sort of new concept, the way it's being articulated here, people like Bruce Lee have been using this, and I think you'll agree with me before this call is over. And then before we leave, I'm even going to give you a sort of strategy on how to teach this when you find yourself in a situation where you need someone else to understand. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a coach, maybe you're a teacher. I'm going to give you, maybe you're a team leader, right? Maybe you're a boss, maybe you have employees, maybe you're a network marketing sort of team leader. Regardless, I think that this call could be probably, I want to hesitate before I say this, but I believe that this could be one of the most important calls that we've done all year. This might rank number one. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it, but I'm putting my money on this call in terms of pound for pound change in your life. I believe that this call will really, really affect some things in your trajectory. So let's begin. Millionaires, learning is probably the most important skill that we have. The reason why I'm begging you to text message your family and friends and get them here is because what we're going to do today is learn about learning. This is Stanford psychologist named Carol Dweck, right? She got a bunch of kids together, and she just gave them a bunch of puzzles. You know, she figured, let me just figure out this success thing, right? She just decided she wanted to study from a psychological point of view how success works. So her thoughts when she saw it started racing, because when she's handing them the puzzles, I mean, one of them's like, I love this, you know? The other one's like, man, I can't wait to figure this out. And at the time, she was like, you either cope with failure or you didn't, right? She never considered the idea that some people love failure. But see, these kids didn't even know they were failing. They thought they were learning. Millionaires, at the time, Carol thought that human qualities were set in stone. You're smart or you're not, right? You're either a failure or you're not, and failure means you're not smart. If you could avoid failure, then you can stay smart, right? All the perseverance and the mistakes and the struggles, that's not even a real part of the talented and gifted experience, right? These kids didn't agree. These kids, who she handed these things like Rubik's Cubes and jigsaw puzzles and all of that, they felt, obviously, that human qualities like intellectual skills, even personality, right, character, all of this stuff can be developed. And they were doing it. They were literally developing their mentality, or in how we would say it, they were getting smarter, literally. She discovered something amazing, millionaires. She discovered that the more you know about the belief system that's governing your world and your perception, the more you're going to learn about your own abilities. The more you're going to speed up your potential to fuel your behavior, the more you're able to predict success. Millionaires, it turns out that one of the most basic beliefs that we carry about ourselves has to do with how we view and how we inhabit our little set of characteristics we call a personality. And a fixed mindset is the type that assumes that character and intelligence and creative ability are static, that they can't change, right? Now, what does this do to you, right? This starts making it so that you, you get to a place where you got to prove yourself all the time, right? You got to prove yourself, because you got to think about it. If this is all the intelligence you got, if this is all the moral character you got, if this is all the personality you got, it better be it better be enough. That's why you see people that have that fixed mindset sort of try to avoid challenges, because they don't want to be found out as less than perfect. The growth mindset, on the other hand, loves a challenge. It doesn't see failure as some kind of evidence of stupidity. It sees failure as sort of like a launch pad. And we start to manifest these ideas way early. You know, I don't know how many of you can relate, but a lot of times this stuff is given to us by people who, I mean, let's be honest, loved us. But because we were constantly in these environments, we didn't really have a fighting chance to form our own personalities. We really pretty much downloaded this stuff. You know, she's talking about how for 20 years, her research is like the view that you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. This is what determines whether you become the person you want to be and whether you accomplish the things you value, or you just languish in mediocrity. How does this happen? How can a simple belief have the power to transform your psychology and your neurology, and as a result, your life? Well, the whole idea is that when you have this fixed mindset, like I'm saying, you just want to prove yourself all the time. It wouldn't do it all to look deficient in these certain characteristics. And I don't know about you, but I've seen so many people struggle with this. I don't care if you're talking about the classroom, careers. I don't care if you're talking about me as a coach, dealing with mentees, et cetera, so forth. Every situation is evaluated by the fixed mindset as will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? But see, there's another mindset out here where this type of stuff doesn't even like enter the realm. There's another mindset in which these traits aren't just some hand that you've been dealt and now you got to live with the rest of your life, but you're always trying to convince yourself and other people that you got some royal flush and you're secretly hoping you ain't holding a pair of tens. See, when you're in this other mindset that we're talking about right now, this hand that you've been dealt by life is just a starting point for your development. This growth mindset is based on a belief that these basic qualities that we're all dealing with are things that you can cultivate through effort, through discipline, through focus. And, you know, even though people might differ in individual talents, especially initially, aptitudes, interests, temperaments, everybody can change and grow through application and experience. Now, doesn't that sound a little different? Do people with this mindset believe that anybody can be anything, that anybody with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? Nah, that's not what we're saying. But what we know is that your true potential is unknown. What we know is that your true potential is not even knowable. It's impossible to foresee everything that you can accomplish with that seed of divinity, that seed of infinity that you got inside you. You know, if you look at what really makes the growth mindset so incredible, millionaires, is that what it does is create a passion for learning instead of this hunger for approval. There are people you told about this call who are not here because they hunger for approval rather than education, rather than training, rather than new skills. Millionaires, if you will begin to acknowledge and adopt, if necessary, the conviction that human qualities like intelligence and creativity and even, you know, relationship bandwidth, right? Love, friendship, etc., can be cultivated through effort and deliberate practice, and you're on your way. And the thing about that growth mindset is that you don't find yourself discouraged by failure because you don't see yourself failing. You become like those little kids who, instead of wasting time trying to prove how great they are and make everybody think they're great and pretend to be great, they just set about the business of solving a puzzle, a.k.a. just becoming great. Why waste time trying to pretend you're great when you could actually get better? Why settle for the illusion of false power when you could actually become powerful? Why look for friends or partners who's just going to pat you on your head and tell you how great you are and be a yes man when you could instead be around people who are going to challenge you, who are going to tease you for falling off a little bit? That's what you need. Why keep on staying in that comfort zone when we know it's a coffin instead of diving into some experiences that'll stretch you? Millionaires, the passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even when it's not going well, I'm talking about especially when it's not going well, is what we call growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive when all hell is breaking loose. Now, I know a lot of this isn't new. If you're here every week, we're always talking about you can do it, you can do anything, you know what I mean? You built the pyramids, right? But see, I think it's important for us to realize that mindset is what they call in psychology a core driver. And when you look at people who have fixed mindset, what these psychologists are seeing is that they see risk and effort as potential giveaways of their inadequacy. They think that if they take a risk, they think that if they make too strong an effort, everybody's going to see they're trying hard, and now they come up short in some way. You got to get this, millionaire. This is what makes this so crazy. Millionaires, the relationship between mindset and effort goes both ways. It's not that just some people happen to recognize the value of challenging themselves. It's not that some people just happen to realize, man, putting forth all my effort is a good thing. It's coming straight from mindset. when we teach people the growth mindset, when we teach its focus on personal growth and self-development, this is why you're on Dear Millionaire every day. This is why you tune in to Good Morning Millionaire every morning. These ideas about challenge and effort start to follow. You start to realize, wait a minute, I'm learning things I didn't know before. Here's the crazy thing, though. The reason we lean on you to share this stuff with other people is that, see, you already got the growth mindset. It's your friends who we got to work on. Either that or you're going to have to get rid of them. As you start to really understand the difference between fixed and growth mindsets, you're going to start to see how one thing leads to another. How this whole belief that qualities are kind of carved in stone that Dr. Dweck had starts to affect your thoughts. It starts to lead to some actions that maybe you don't even mean to be implementing. I want you to really start to realize how a belief that your qualities can be cultivated leads to a way different set of thoughts, way different actions. You're going down a way different road. It's the mindset that changes what you strive for, is what I'm trying to say. It's the mindset that changes what you even see as success. You know how, I don't know how many of you have downloaded the first chapter of my book. It's on the website, We Are Millionaire Minded. I was just now joking with Alma how I see why it's only like a couple hundred downloads when we've got so many of the affirmations. It's because it says pre-order the book. You do not have to pay for nothing, man. Just download the first chapter. But some of you understand that in the first chapter, I talk about how everybody's a success. People say, what do you mean by that? I go and explain, listen, the guy that's sweeping the floors in your old high school is a success. Did he not apply for that job, and did he not successfully get it? When you enter a mindset, you enter a new world. In that fixed mindset kind of world, success is about proving that you're smart. It's about proving you're talented. It's about validating yourself. And the other one, the world of changing and ethereal, fluid, mercurial qualities, it's about stretching yourself to learn something new. It's about realizing that the brain is plastic. Write this term down, neuroplasticity. You can develop yourself. In one world, failure is about having a setback, getting a bad grade, losing a game, getting fired, getting rejected. It means you're not smart or talented enough. They didn't sign up with you. I'm a loser. The devil is a liar. I want you to move to the world where failure is about not growing. Failure is about not reaching for what you value. Failure means you're not reaching for your potential. You're not even trying. We just sent it out through Dear Millionaire, where Michael Jordan was like, man, failure, I can live with. Not trying, that's a whole nother ballpark. That's growth mindset. See, in one world, effort is a bad thing. Because like failure, it means you're not smart or talented. Look at you working all hard, right? Well, yeah. But see, in that mindset, if you were so dope, if you were just like off the hook like you want to be, then what happens is, because I'm not supposed to have to work hard. If I'm working hard, it means I ain't smart. It means I'm not talented. Because if I was, I wouldn't need effort. But see, in the other world, effort is what makes you smart or talented. You know, you want to talk about Michael Jordan? You know, let's look at Michael Jordan, right? One thing about Michael Jordan is that we all call him the greatest athlete of all time, right? Like we're all like, at least when it comes to basketball, nobody's even in the same league. But do you realize Michael Jordan wasn't a natural? A lot of us in the world of personal development, we love that story about how he got cut from varsity. But also, he wasn't recruited by the team he wanted to play for. Even after winning game-winning shots at UNC, it's time for the draft. 2 teams chose somebody ahead of him. Now, we look at them and like, that's pretty stupid, right? You had a shot at Jordan. How'd that work out? Right? I think number 1 that year was a guy named Sam Bowie. You're like, who? Exactly. Exactly, my friend. So, going back to that varsity experience, when he got cut, he was devastated. He was destroyed to the point where his mama said, boy, you better go discipline yourself. You want to talk about coachability? It's safe to say he listened. At that point, he started to leave the house every morning at 6 a.m. so he could get in 3 hours of practice before school started. He's not even on the team. How many of you are willing to adopt a growth mindset? Millionaires, he wasn't a natural, but he probably worked harder on his game than any other athlete in history until maybe Kobe Bryant came along. And then, after that, you got Steph Curry. The bar has been set, millionaires. So what are the two things that we can do? What are the two things that we can do? I'm gonna give you some ways to teach it, and I'm going to give you some ways to sort of change your mindset. But here are, when you're talking about your own mindset, but what are the things that we can do to become better leaders using this material? Before we get to how Bruce Lee used it, what are two things that we can do to use it ourselves, starting right now? Well, here's the first one. First, you're winning just knowing they're two different mindsets, because these things are situational. They're going to pop in and out on you. First, you're winning just knowing now this extra information. Your mind has now expanded to match that goal of being a better leader, because you now know there are two different choices you got. You're walking that tightrope. That's number one. Kudos. Congratulations for being here. Here's the next one. Millionaires, you've got to stop praising talent in your people and start praising effort. Why is praising a child smart one of the biggest crimes you can commit against that child's mindset? Why? Because what happens, millionaires, is when you say something like, you do that, you did that so quickly. Man, you're incredible. In their mind, subconsciously, they don't even hear themselves saying it. This is just how the computer works. If I'm not quick, they won't be impressed. When you go out here and you say, oh, man, baby, you got an A without even working. You're so smart. Now their mind is going, so if I work hard, that means I'm not smart. Just a little robot thing happens. You're programming them. If you really want to praise, what you want to say to the child is something more like, man, it was incredible how you kept on trying new strategies till you figured that out. You are a stallion. You're a thoroughbred. You're a stud. You're a machine. See how different that is? Boy, you're smart. You're so smart. I'm going to tell you something. Research has even shown that telling a person they're smart lowers their IQ. Over time, it just lowers their IQ, because you got to remember, now that you've told them this, they got to live up to this. And if smart equals I get this right so effortlessly, then I don't have to study. I don't have to. Matter of fact, if I study, that cancels out all the compliments they're giving me. You got to watch that. Growth mindset sees endless opportunity. When I say endless, I'm talking endless. So millionaires, how did Bruce Lee, we always hear about, I put it on Facebook, these 1-inch punches. They got it on YouTube, or these one-finger push-ups he would do. But it's really his mind that we need to study. He had some pretty cool things to say about life. I don't know how many of you know, but his journal is in like the Hard Rock Cafe. He wrote down everything that he wanted to be before it happened. And I mean, at a time when it looked like he was writing a stand-up comedy routine. Reminds me of the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's deciding he's going to be one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood. He can barely speak English. We see these things over and over and over again. Growth mindset. Here's the first principle that I think sums up Bruce Lee's sort of mindset. What are you really thinking about today? His whole vibe was, as you think, so shall you become. What are you thinking about today? I mean, it's one of the most basic thoughts. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute when I tell you how to affect your own mindset and how to visualize changing your own mindset. We're going to get to that in a minute. But right now, while we're talking about Bruce Lee, what are you really thinking about? What do those thoughts say about you? What do those thoughts say about your life? How well do those thoughts match your plan? How well do those thoughts match the image that you want to have of yourself? It's easy to forget about this. Just like it's even easier to not even be in synergy with what you say and you want out of life. But write that down on a Post-it note and put it in your car. Put it on the fridge. Put it in the bathroom mirror. What are you really thinking about? And if you want to go a step further, put the affirmations right there. So when you look at it, you're thinking about that. I'm going to tell you in a minute why that's so important. But, you know, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, I highly suggest it. Jot that down, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. I used to just give it away on CDs. Here's number 2 from Bruce Lee. Simplify. The way that he lived his life, and you see this in a lot of Zen philosophy, is that it's not about the daily increase. It's really about the daily decrease. You got to hack away at all the crap that don't matter. If you spend too much time thinking about something, you're never going to get it done. Simplify, millionaire. Simplify. If you want to improve your life, sometimes you want to add more. It's tempting. But one problem with that is that maybe you don't even have the time and the energy to do more. And so now the efforts for you to improve your life become kind of short-lived. You might get on to the next thing. You over it. Well, millionaires, sometimes you don't need all that extra energy. Sometimes you're going to give yourself some extra energy by decreasing. You keep on adding more and more and more. You just create more stress and anxiety. This morning we talked about it on Good Morning Millionaire because we're talking about how people they get distracted so easily and they procrastinate so much. Half the time it's because they're lying to themselves. And this morning I talked about lying to yourself like I got enough time. But there's another lie. It's a lie like, man, you out here doing all this because you gonna I don't know win an Oscar. No, I mean you might. We're not here to dash nobody's dreams. But damn it, are you gonna commit the next 4 years of your life to mastering that? Because if not, maybe you should simplify. Oh, you're going to sell 1 million records as a rapper. Listen, I'm an artist. Like, I got my own Pandora station. I got songs in all these movies and stuff. Listen, I am not about to dedicate the next 5 years of my life to doing nothing but what it takes. So maybe it's time to simplify. Maybe I should just do my music as therapy, right? Yeah, people always begging me for, like, you know, and you know, in all spirit of humility, because it's an honor, right? But listen, I got to simplify. I'm trying to help my people. And for some reason, you know, when you put it in music form, you do a lot better if you're talking about nonsense. I'll just say that. You know, there is a school of thought that says that, you know. But here's my point. You got to simplify. Sometimes you add more stress, you add more anxiety. When you could remove clutter by removing activities. You could remove tasks. You could remove thoughts that aren't so important. You can free up time and energy so that you can do more of what you really are on the planet to do. As the clutter in your outer world decreases, the clutter in your inner world has a tendency to start to shrink. Now it's easier to actually enjoy what you're doing. A lot of times adding all of this stuff, it creates a sense of security for a minute because we like having all this stuff to do. Now we can procrastinate, right? Now we can avoid taking that leap we know we need to take. Millionaires, stop giving yourself that comfortable caution, and let's get to it. Number 3, and this is pure growth mindset. if you study Bruce Lee or if you read his book, he always talks about learning about yourself when you're in these fights. He always being like almost like a school. You get the one person that's the hardest to get to really know might be yourself. So sometimes when you're alone, it's a good thing because you get to know yourself. Don't be so quick to jump from relationship to relationship. Get to know yourself. Now, a lot of times if you're only spending time with yourself, you're going to start reproducing these loops, right? You start to go to default instead of design. So a good way to really learn about yourself is to interact with other people. Growth mindset. Looking at how people react and act in their interactions and with other people. This morning on my Instagram, I don't know what you call it, Insta Snap, I was showing these pictures. I was showing this little video of these people in the gym. They didn't know I was recording them. But it was so interesting to me how leadership works and how circle of influence works. If you don't have my Instagram, it's at Haziq Ali. At symbol and then HAZIQALI. What was really interesting was that it was so clear this one lady was leading a group, and all three of them were just literally circled around her. And she's just talking to them, like a bunch of seniors. But it's so cool at any age. You're going to see one that's leading, and then you're going to see. And the point I was making on my Instagram is that, in networking situations, that's the person you want to talk to, because they've got this circle of influence like we all do, about 250 people, but they actually wield their influence, okay? Get to know who you are when you meet up with this person. Do you fall under her influence, or does she fall under yours? Get to know yourself. Get to start noticing what you think and how you react. You might find out that you learn even more. What you see, what you feel, what you hear in other people, a lot of times it's a reflection of you. And the things you learn by thinking this might not always be something you find pleasant, right? But they can be enlightening. The truth will set you free, but first it might piss you off a little bit. Here's number 4. Don't divide. Don't divide. This is a Bruce Lee vibration, but this fits right in the growth mindset, y'all. Very useful thought, very powerful thought, very hard to live by thought. Why? Because the ego loves to divide and find more ways to add to itself. The ego wants to feel better than somebody else, or more clever, or more handsome, or more pretty, or cooler, or wiser. Bruce Lee says don't divide. Growth mindset says don't compete, collaborate, create. Bruce Lee says don't divide. Take no thought of who's right or wrong or who's better than. Don't be for, don't be against. And I just feel like this boils down to your thoughts. I feel like this boils down to you starting to realize that you're not your thoughts. Half the time, those aren't even your thoughts. What you are is a spiritual being having a human experience. You're just observing all of this. And when you have these out-of-body experiences, it starts to enable you to control your thoughts and feelings instead of the other way around. It enables you to not take your thoughts too serious. Now you can laugh at your thoughts. You can ignore them when you know your ego wants to curse this person out. Just for instance, your ego wants to call them and tell them something about themselves and how they aren't really as much as they think, right? Maybe they're all that, but they're definitely not all that and a bag of chips. You want to tell them, but you can laugh at it because time is the just. Who's real good at a lot of that out-of-body stuff is Eckhart Tolle. So just write that name down, Eckhart Tolle, E-C-K-H-A-R-T, and T-O-L-L-E. Here's number 5. Avoid a dependency on validation from others. Woo! That's a big one. You're not in this world to live up to my expectations, and I'm not in this world to live up to yours. Showing off is the fool's idea of glory. But again, that's the ego. You know, you want validation from others. You want to feel smart. You want to feel successful. And so they make you feel good. But here's the problem. If you give them the power to make you feel good, you also give them the power to take that feeling away. You got to validate yourself by thinking about how awesome you are. You got to validate yourself by remembering that you're a machine, that you're on beast mode all the time. You ain't got no reverse. I don't even know why we show off, but I got a theory. I think we just want validation. I think we just want approval. I think that this is why, this is exactly why bragging never works. Because instead of seeing a cool and successful person you're trying to project, people just see the insecure, needy person who's just so hungry for validation. And now your bragging is just turning people off. Here's number 6. We got to hurry up. Be proactive. Millionaires, Bruce Lee always preaches be proactive. He's who a lot of people credit that quote about to hell with circumstances, I create opportunities. That's Bruce Lee. It's so easy to get locked into this mindset where you're always victim, right? You're always victimized because you're always reacting. Another way to put it is victimized, right? You got this reactive mindset. You just follow along with whatever's happening. You just do what everybody else is doing. You react to whatever they're doing. And now you're lost in the sauce. I know this don't feel good. If I'm talking to you because your friend put you on that line, welcome. We're going to get you right. But this is not the place, this life thing, to be dragged around feeling all powerless. Like you just drifting, like you just sitting in the passenger seat of somebody else's yacht. No. You've got to feel okay being responsible. You've got to feel okay taking the lead. In the mornings we ask for testimonies. Man, sometimes the silence just gets awkward. Now just let it get awkward. You sit there and get to know yourself. You mean to tell me you ain't got nothing to say good from yesterday? Well, that's a problem. If you are grateful for every day, your path of least resistance is not yet abundance. I bet you if I ask you, man, so tell me one thing that got on your nerves yesterday, I bet you could come up with that. Ain't that something? Here's number 7. Be you. Always be yourself. Express yourself. Have faith in yourself. Stop going out looking for everybody else you want to praise. Now, you know, if you read Bruce Lee, he tells you not to go out and duplicate others. I humbly disagree. I think that modeling other people is one of the fastest ways to success. But I get what he's saying. He's saying you should still be embracing the unique soul that is you. That's what he's saying. Just being yourself is really hard to do. Now, you might do it sometimes. Other times you might fall back into your old thoughts. You might imitate somebody else. So interesting, man. Like, you know, sometimes being an empath, because I've heard over and over again that I'm psychic and all of this stuff. I don't go that far, but I know I'm an empath. I know I can feel other people's emotions. And I still remember my mama getting on me because I would just come home stuttering. Like, hey, mom, right? What the hell wrong with you, boy? Come to find out some new kid in class was stuttering. And I done started empathizing with him. I'm trying to make him feel like be you, you know, and watch your environment, right? Okay, I'm gonna hurry up because we got to get to this. So now I promised you, sort of like this 5-step plan to being able to affect your own mindset. I don't know how many of you have the affirmation. We've got the Ultimate Affirmations Toolkit at We Are Millionaire Minded, right? It's a downloadable sort of like power pack with all kinds of experiments you can do with your brain. Yeah, literally. Guided meditations where, people just bust out into tears and all of that. We've got the affirmations recorded, where you'll just hear it looping over and over and over again, and you can turn it down just below where you can hear it, put in your headset and go to sleep to it and let it kind of like lull you to sleep so that you begin to overpower these thoughts. But why does this stuff work? I'm about to explain to you. Here are sort of like the 4 principles that I want you to understand when it comes to entrepreneurology. We always talk about entrepreneur mindset, and then we combine it with how the brain works, which is called neuroscience or neurology. So together we get entrepreneurology. Here's the first thing I want you to write down. The first time any thought occurs, 2 neurons are talking to each other. I'm about to show you why it's so important that you're under affirmation calls every morning. Watch this. The brain is malleable, y'all. It's plastic. It grows according to how you need it to grow at the time. It's insanely cool. Do you know every little baby is a linguistic genius? You can put that baby in Korea, that baby's going to know Korean. And the baby could be black. You could put that baby in Scandinavia, and it's going to know how to speak, Scandinavian, if that's a language. Don't judge me. Do you get what I'm saying? The first time any thought occurs, these 2 neurons are talking to each other. It's an electrochemical pulse. They talk. Here's the second thing to write down. Every time they talk, the chances get much greater they're going to talk again. Walk with me, right? I'm going somewhere with this. Every time the neurons talk, the chances are much greater that they're going to talk again. Here's number 3. I'm giving you 5. This is always going to help you remember that when you're learning this stuff every morning on Good Morning Millionaire, when you're just driving to work and just letting it, you might not even be paying attention all the way. You just got the Facebook video on while you're driving or whatever, right? Listen to me. It's going in your brain. Here's number 3. Once the thought occurs repeatedly, the brain will start to build sort of a fiber optic superhighway. It's like it goes Wi-Fi on you, instead of dial-up, if you're old enough to remember that. I know we got some mute them on the phone, but if you're old enough to remember dial-up, you'll be sitting there. It's the worst. Well, see, once the thought occurs repeatedly, boom, you done switch to Wi-Fi. Your brain starts to produce this stuff called myelin, which is really like white fat, right? It starts to produce this stuff called myelin. It starts to coat that bad boy. It starts to coat that bridge between the neurons. So every time you think the thought, and I mean this refers to actions, this refers to beliefs, okay? This refers to the belief that you're not good enough, or the belief that you're clumsy, or the belief that you're horrible with money. And then this refers to actions like driving a car or juggling or hitting a baseball. Once the thought occurs repeatedly, the brain begins to create this myelin stuff. And what happens when the activity starts to get dense and concentrated is we start to see this white matter in the brain. You always hear about that, the white matter. We start to see that part of the brain, it starts to get coated with all this white stuff, which is myelin. But here's number 4. Yeah, all that stuff handles when you're walking, when you're talking. This is where the beliefs get formed. For millionaires, this is also where the challenges occur. See, remember when we talked about how you downloaded your personality? Well, when you were in your most sponge-like stages, what's crazy about it is that you were in such a concentrated environment. You were literally only around about the same 5 to 10 people. So that means you're getting the same thoughts. We're all the direct reflection of the expectations of the people that we respect, right? And the people that are around us and forming our vibe, right? millionaires, if you're in the same environment with the same people, thinking the same, saying the same things, watching the same shows, listening to the same music over and over and over and over again, then damn it, you're going to have the same thoughts over and over and over and over again. Doesn't matter if they're negative or if they're positive. It's getting myelin if it's getting repeated. This is your beliefs about anything. Do you see why I said that this was a powerful training? This is your beliefs about anything. But here comes number 5, right before you're about to get depressed. Because as we know, it's mostly going to be negative that people are, right? With most of our childhood. Some of you are lucky, and that's why you're a billionaire today, right? Right. Exactly. So here's number 5. Most important thing I've said this whole training. The brain will take away myelin when it's not being used. So millionaires, I'm about to give you 3 things you need to know if you want to minimize some of that negative default crap that's stuck in your head. It's time to lower the priority. That's what you, and once you tell the brain that you want to lower the priority, that's what starts pulling the myelin away and applying it somewhere else. And the only way to do this is on purpose. Millionaires, as our hour comes to a close, and we do this quick little Q&A, I want you to understand that you've got to do this on purpose. The only way to do it is on purpose. And there are 4 ways that I want to give you that will help you to redo your mindset, that will help you to redo the things you're good at or the personality traits you want to improve upon. Here are 4 things. First, and these are in no certain order. First is you got to write it. Millionaires, you need a gratitude journal. I don't know how many of you have our vision board coloring book. We have the world's first vision board coloring book. It's right there at wearemillionaireminded.com. And to the left of every image are all of these blank lines with a quote above it that, again, gets you in a growth mindset. And what happens with that quote and these blank lines is it's for you to write out the things you're grateful for. I mean, maybe it's new ideas you got. Maybe it's a new friend. Maybe it's a new resource, a person, a place, a thing, right? You just go through the nouns. What are you grateful for? Write it down. Write it. That's the first way. The second way is see it. Visualization. Millionaires, if you go to We Are Millionaire Minded on Instagram, we put together a digital vision board for you. Listen, who are they building these mansions for? Who are they inventing the world's fastest car for right now? We don't even know what it's going to be called, but we're preparing to get it. But you got to visualize it first. Because if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. We know that. And again, that visualization coloring book, it takes mindfulness and combines it with the need to visualize. Perfect holiday gift, hint, hint, right? It's not too early to start ordering them in bulk. Shameless plug. It's so funny. Earlier today, somebody was like, man, I appreciate it. I'm like, man, appreciation is something you show, not something you say. Anyway. All right, number 3, say it. So we said you write it. That's a gratitude journal. You see it. That's the visualization. And then you say it. Millionaires, when we're doing affirmations, incantations, when you're talking about mantras every morning, where we're saying, I am so happy and grateful that all my best friends are successful and add value to my life. Or I am so happy and grateful that my mind visualizes my goals is already done. Or I am so happy and grateful I get at least one new customer every day. What we're doing is lodging these thoughts into our brain. Here's number 4. You got to be around it. You got to be around it. Listen, Millionaire Minded is just a social club for wealth strategy. That's all this is. Millionaire Minded. It's not a noun. It's an adjective. You know how much I love y'all? Because every morning we just celebrate the good in life, the positivity, the optimism. We leave the line glowing and ready to take our light and spread it to other people. You got to be around it. Because the thing about the culture you choose is it begins to pull you up or drag you down. So write it, see it, say it, and be around it. Millionaires, if you want to change your own mindset, you know, and since we're talking about saying it, I'll just leave you with a few of these, you know, sort of write these down. Because while we're saying the affirmations, sometimes, you know, it's so funny. I was coaching one of my clients 2 days ago, and we were saying a sentence, and then he was like, man, you know, and then I'll be ready after and then he caught himself like, wow. See, you're doing it to yourself all the time. You're telling yourself, I'm not ready yet. Or, man, once I do this, then I can do that. Or you know, I don't deserve this. Or, you're saying it, and you don't even hear it, but you hear it. So listen, instead of saying, I'm not good at this, which is a fixed mindset, say, what am I missing? That's growth. Instead of saying, I'm awesome at this, right? Like I'm already John Blake, like can't nobody tell me King Kong ain't got nothing on me. No. Instead of that, be like, I'm on the right track. I'm doing all right. Instead of saying, I give up, tell yourself, I'm going to use some of these strategies I'm picking up. Instead of saying, this is too hard, maybe say, this might take a little time and effort. Instead of saying, I can't make this any better, maybe say, I can always improve, so I'm going to always keep trying. Instead of saying, you know, you might hear your child say something like, I just can't do math. You're going to say, I'm going to train my brain in math. We're going to get some white matter going over these equations. Instead of saying I made a mistake, you can say the mistakes are making me much better, right? Instead of saying, she's so smart, I'll never be that smart, what you could say is, I'm going to figure out how she did it. I'm about to stalk her Facebook page. I'm about to take her post. No, I'm just playing. Instead of saying, it's good enough, maybe you say, is this really my best work? Instead of plan A didn't work, you know, my plan didn't work. Oh, man. Why not say, good thing the alphabet has 25 more letters? Right? All right. I hope this was helpful. I hope I didn't oversell it. You know what I mean? But I see this a lot in coaching. I thought it was an important topic. Star 6 will unmute your line. Anybody got any questions before we get out of here? We only got about 5 minutes, so this is not going to be one of them awkward silences kind of moments. If you ain't got nothing to say, we out of here. Star 6 will unmute your line. Anybody want to share questions, feedback? Star 6. No? All right.
Hazik,
Yes, ma'am.
real quick. It's Bertina in Texas.
Hey, Bertina, Texas in the house.
I know, and I missed you this morning, but I'm telling you, if you ever don't hear me on the line, I'm catching you on that Facebook Live afterwards, so don't ever stop doing that. Real quick, I always appreciate you, and you hit a couple of nails on the head here. You keep doing it. You know, just it's retraining, just like you train a child to walk, just like nobody started out being great at anything.
Mm-mm.
You got to put in the work, and everybody looks at the final. You look at the final piece, or you look at the final picture. Nobody looks at the work that gets put into it.
That's it.
So yes,
That's it.
I missed it because we numbered it, but you said 4, but you did a whole lot of talking in that. As to what
it's like this
4.
is too hard. Or which one are you talking about?
Okay.
Man, really, I'll be saying like, yo, just listen to the replay. But go ahead, since we already
right.
talking.
Normally you do, yep. And I don't have a study buddy yet, so I'm working on that.
After you said once the thought occurs repeatedly and the brain begins to get, the brain basically looks the Wi-Fi with it. What's the step after that?
So we were saying that after that, to realize that that's where the challenges start. That's where the challenges start, when you start to get the conscious incompetence. You know, I just gave you Maslow's hierarchy of learning in a different way, where it's unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know, conscious incompetence, where you start to know what you don't know, conscious competence, where you start to learn it, and then unconscious competence. So when these challenges occur, step number 4, that would start to be conscious competence.
Okay.
It's like now you know that, dang, you know, this is how I drive. Okay, now I want to get good at it. And then the white matter is really flowing at the point you hit unconscious competence, where you can just drive home and you don't even know how you got there. You were just on autopilot. That's because you've done it so many times. Your brain has just formed a lot of white matter around those neurons, and boom, you can get home. Now that you can do. So it's just like that. Yes, ma'am. Anybody else want to share? Thank you, Texas.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Oh, now you see that? You see that?
I started it.
We warned y'all about 10 minutes earlier. I was like, man, we're going to get to a quick Q&A. That means everybody's supposed to be ready. But Brittany just started that thing off. You got to love Texas. They say it's always bigger in Texas, including courage. Is that what y'all saying?
Yes. In Texas with a Louisiana heart, so that makes me even worse.
Woo! I heard that. All right, ladies, tell us your name and where you're from, and then let's try to hurry up and get through this before we push this too much past the hour.
Okay, this is Linda in Cincinnati, Ohio. Vicki Humphrey put me on the call. And the mindset, I just want to share this with you. Keep it short. I got a text today. Was planning a pretty big event here in this area. And main speaker, we've been promoting and marketing and doing all of that. Got a text today that, hey, a personal situation has occurred, and it doesn't look like that speaker is going to make it. Uh-oh. And the suggestion was to, okay, possibly, look at another date. Now, we've done all the marketing. We've done all of that. And I said, oh, my goodness. So I got my accountability partner on the phone. And at this point, everything that we've learned being on this awesome call as well, I had no I knew we could not cancel it at this point. And my accountability partner, Ms. Deborah Smith, she was definitely in agreement with me. We don't know who we're going to have, but I got on the phone as well and spoke with the founders of the company. And they are making a way to basically be here in the speaker's place. So I'm definitely excited about that. It wasn't even about canceling or how can we do this? We said we're going to do it. We got what it takes. We're going forward. We're not canceling this.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's the mindset. And I'm thankful for this call because we are moving forward.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that story. That was an excellent example of it. Okay, good evening, millionaire. What is your name and where are you from? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Isna Tianti, and I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. And I just wanted to say something that you mentioned earlier when you were talking about praising our children for their effort. That was a conversation that I had just this morning with my daughter. She was telling me how anxious she was and how there are times that she gets so stressed because her GPA isn't what she wants it to be, being that she's a senior, and fearing her success in life. And I told her, I said, sweetheart, I said, I see you up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get homework done. It's not that you're not putting in effort. I said, so I don't care what GPA is at the end of the day. I said, if I know that you are giving your best effort, I said, nobody in your school system or any other place is going to ever give you a number that rates what you are doing. I said, your GPA is your girl power awesomeness. And I said, and that's the only thing that you were born with that no man can give to you or take away. Our children need to know that we see what they're doing.
They need to know that we applaud, just what you said, their effort and not the outcome of what it looks like when they don't give what the teachers say is their best. So if I can give her a grade, I give her an A+ and an E for effort and awesomeness, because I see everything that she's doing and all the sacrifices that she's making. So at the end of the day, I said, sweetheart, I graduated with a 2.0. But when I got in college, I had a 4.0 because I chose to go to school. I didn't want to be in school in high school. So I say all this to say, for any parent that is on the line, don't let the school system give your child their worth and their value just on a GPA basis. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, good evening, millionaire. What is your name and where are you from?
Excuse me,
Try
pardon.
to be polite to everybody, y'all. Don't go too hard on us. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This Dana right here from Illinois.
All right.
I'm trying to see, bro, what's the best approach that I should use for somebody? Because, I'm kind of new to it, to expressing people to what my econ is when they ask me, bro. So
this call isn't about my econ, Dana. If you hit me offline, we can talk about that. And then we can build on it, because there's people from all kinds of companies, all kinds of businesses, all kinds of walks of life. That's why you can feel free to have your family and friends on the line, because it ain't really this ain't about no company. This is millionaire minded. Mm-hmm.
Overstood, Ken. I'm gonna tag your line.
Absolutely.
Yes,
plus, okay, yes, sir. All right, who else, y'all?
Hey, Brad J. Mazik.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, interesting thing talking about Bruce Lee. I met a Grand Master this weekend and talked with him today who knew Bruce Lee. Two things about Bruce Lee that few people know. Number one, he was a champion ballroom dancer.
Yeah, the cha-cha.
The second thing is, for a year and a half, he spent his life in a body cast and had to learn how to do everything all over again. So that talks about courage and reinventing and having the inspiration and the drive to not fail, to create new ways to win. So I wish everyone bright moments.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, anybody else want to share tonight?
Hey, IZ.
Yes, sir. What is your name and where are you from?
Richard from Irvington, New Jersey. This is a replay, right?
I'm sorry, somebody else is making noise. I couldn't hear you. What you say, Richard?
This call will be on for a period of time, right? Is that for replay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, all right, cool.
It'll go out through Dear Millionaire. If everybody hasn't joined Dear Millionaire, just ask the person that told you about this call. They'll tell you how to join. The text at MillMind to 81010. Anybody else want to share? Anybody else had any questions tonight?
Hazik, this is DeAndre White from Griffin, Georgia. I have a question. So, just to be brief and to the point, how does an individual who has a wealth of knowledge and knows about how to become a millionaire, how to be an entrepreneur, how to create a system, how do they have that? How are they able to bridge that gap from knowing it to being able to do it? It's one thing to know something, but it's completely different to be able to manifest it.
Yeah, it's true. Man, I'm going to tell you something, bro. Only way around it is to practice. You got to just get out there and practice. And the thing is, man, a lot of people don't understand this, but it's really about treating it all like practice. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't want to practice in the I heard something from this guy, Greg Ammerman, recently, where he was like, the professionals practice way more than they perform versus the amateurs who are practicing on stage. You get that? So
yes,
I'm saying that, like, when you're talking about sports and stuff like that, that's a great thing. You should definitely be role-playing in your free time, making sure you're going back and forth with your teammates and practicing. But also, man, throw yourself into that thing, man. Dive deep head first into it and get great. Because I'm going to tell you something. You're going to learn from every experience now that you're going to adopt the growth mindset. And every time you mess up, you're going to mess around and get excited because you're like, woo, I ain't going to make that mistake no more. Let's go. Because there's infinite people out here. It's like seven, and not infinite, but it's close. It's like 7 billion and counting. We're getting close to 8 billion. That's enough, to get some practice in. So that's what I suggest, man. Just go way harder. And if you've been on Good Morning Millionaire recently, you heard me kind of give out this tip where you just want to create more metrics of different things you're doing. So if your metric is going to be 3 prospects a day, then stick to it. Don't tell yourself you're going to do 30 and then you don't want to look at a prospect the rest of the year. Just pace yourself. 3 a day. Not 4, but not 2. 3.
Okay, thanks a lot, man.
No problem. Anybody else had any questions? Or?
Yes, sir. It's Kevin from Indianapolis.
Yes, sir.
Real quick question, General, sir. The psychologist that you spoke about that did the study with the puzzles, you said her name was Carol Dweck. How are you spelling her last name?
Yeah, so type this in, TED Talk, TEDTALK, TED Talk, and then put in Carol, CAROL, DWECK. And then if you go to the library, she also has a book called Mindset, that you can grab from Amazon in the used book section, I always suggest, or you can go to the library and get it. Mindset.
Got you, boss.
The Science of Success. Yes, sir. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So you know what? Make sure you join Entrepreneurishment. That's our Facebook group. It's laid out for you. If you see somebody just soliciting business, just do me a favor and report the post, and we'll get them out of there. If they keep doing it, then we'll just block them from it. What we're looking for is good, nourishing content. We want good energy. We want inspiration and information for entrepreneurs, and you guys have been doing an incredible job, so keep it coming. And let's grow, y'all. Remember, either your mind has to expand to match your goals. Oh, if you are, because a couple people are text messaging me, the Vision Board Coloring Book and the Ultimate Affirmations Toolkit are both at wearemillionaiремinded.com. Thank you for the private messages and stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Great call. This is Vanika with G Beach. I know it's time to go, but I just wanted to just say really quickly about the myelin sheath. The myelin, that is so important, what you mentioned. Myelin covers the nerves, and for your central nervous system, people who have multiple sclerosis, there's something wrong with their central nervous system to the point where the abnormality attacks the myelin's ability to protect the nerves. So it's almost like a coating as far as an electricity, like a insulation, so it's really important. If you ever seen anybody with MS, how different their functioning is. I just wanted to, just put that out there real quickly. It's if you touch on so many different things with the neuroscience and, just to be able to, I think that one thing in life that we all need to do is just lean back, everybody could just take a step back out of their, what's tangling them in life, what they're, focusing on, that's it. But great call. Thank you so much for. All right.
Okay. No, thank you. So yeah, and yep, that'll do it. She works in the medical field. Everybody. Okay, so okay, I'll see you guys in the morning. Thank you very much, and please spread the word. We'll send the replay out soon. Remember, either your mind has to expand to match your goals, or your goals will just start to shrink to match your mind. Good night, y'all.